So hello again, and this is our next community call and AMA session. We are here with our co-founders and the development lead, Michael, and BrightID stars. And yeah, this week was supposed to be super exciting, as I mentioned before, but we postponed the super exciting stuff for next week. So this week it's going to be a bit less exciting, but I want to know about the latest news from Philip and Adam. I know Philip has been active all over. Philip always has the hottest news. But yeah, this week, let's ask Philip, what's the latest news in identity?
Latest news of the day. Well, so Gitcoin round 11 launched today. So that'll run, I think, the next 2 weeks. And to them, figuring out decentralized identity is absolutely imperative. They're putting a ton of resources into helping that solution, and they are actively using a bunch of existing projects like BrightID and Proof of Humanity and Idena to support what they currently have. So everyone should join those projects and then update their trust bonus so that all of your grants will get bonus matching. The matching pool this round is huge. It's already at $950,000. So like this, the matching is going to be nice on this round. My constant critique of Gitcoin grants forever has been, though, that early on the matching numbers show a story that will not actually play out. So right now, like, I don't know, I didn't look recently, but BrightID before it was like it would get matched like 900 to 1, and that's not how it will actually play out in the end. Someone should look up and see what it is.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
excited to see that. Gitcoin is one of my favorite projects, and I love the way that they're pushing the space. Both Adam and I participated in a multi-week session of other people focused on identity projects, and Gitcoin is really trying to be that melting pot. In the same way that originally Adam and I met through the Open UBI melting pot, where you just kind of bring in all the various people working on a concept, but trying to do it in different ways. And then hopefully collectively you can figure it out. So glad Gitcoin's doing that. The other update I'll give is that we're continuing to work with Raid Guild on the Aura V2 launch. It's taken a little longer than I wish to get there, but it's pretty exciting. And I look forward to sharing that hopefully in about 3 weeks in a way that we can start experimenting. I'm really excited how it can improve the accuracy of BrightID and be fun and interesting and maybe turn into a play to earn game. Because I look at something like Axie with tens of thousands of people playing this game all hours of the day to earn an income, and in some cases, more than they could at a regular job in their country. Imagine if we had tens of thousands of people that were monitoring the BrightID social graph and making it as strong as possible and growing it everywhere they could go. And like you get paid if you do this, but only if you do it well. If you're going to be honest and smart, great, come on in. If you're there to cause trouble, it's not going to work out for you. So those are my updates. Yeah.
Thank you. With the Gitcoin community tokens, uh, what has changed now? Is it anything different in this round of Gitcoin with the community token and you guys being stewards and like voting on any material in this round?
Not materially, not sort of from an outside perspective. So the Gitcoin stewards did vote how to divide up the matching funds. So that $950,000 is in like 10 different buckets. So there's one for dApps and one for infrastructure, one for NFTs, and one for Latin American projects. And so there's these categories. So we did vote on that. I hope that we will continue to do even better in the future on that. Once again, we took the recommendation from FireEyes. So FireEyes is a very small, tightly controlled DAO that wants to sort of provide good guidance for DAOs in general. And I believe it was them that proposed the slate that got adopted. And the stewards, I hope, will do more of that themselves in the future. But still great. It is now, it's outside the hands of like the core Gitcoin team, which is exactly what the core team wanted to be true. They want to push as many decisions like that off of them. You know, they'll run the software, they'll keep things going smoothly, they'll bring new ideas, but like let the decision making come from the DAO. And I think that's a beautiful way to do things.
Could you give us a practical example of something that was put to a vote and otherwise the core team would decide about?
Well, so exactly this, the
mm,
allocation of how do you break up the grant funding between the different categories? Because it really is impactful because sometimes one, like, you know, if you look across multiple projects that got roughly the same number of donations and roughly the same number of donors, and you compare it, like, oh, one's in the DApp category and one's in the infrastructure category, they might get wildly different matching amounts. Yeah, another important vote that we did was how to deal with the dog tokens that we got. Gitcoin got, right as it was launching the DAO, got a huge amount of these, 50% of the supply of these dog tokens. And theoretically, that was worth like hundreds of millions of dollars, except it wasn't, because if you dumped them all, it would not have returned nearly that much. And the core team there was really glad to say, okay, community, this is your problem to deal with. We don't want to. But we've gone way off the BrightID stuff, so let's get back to it.
Yeah, I will say something about the Gitcoin matching. Even though the matching numbers are off, one of the good things you get from donating to your favorite projects early, including BrightID, is that once you get kind of a lead coming out of the gate, people will see your grant without having to dig for it. So it kind of rises to the top of the list. So I don't know how, I don't know how great that is for discovery. I mean, I tend to be someone who like scours the list looking for new projects, but I don't know if most people do that. But it's nice to be one of the projects that is just kind of at the top. So we're in that position, but and we'll probably maintain that position. But it's nice to have people coming in and donating early to your grant.
So I added a new grant to my cart today that I've never donated to because I never noticed before. And that's Block Scout, which is what we use to look at XDAI. So just I happened to go there today and saw a little banner on the top of their website that said, "Hey, if you want to support us, here's our Gitcoin grant." So anybody that uses that service, be nice if you want to throw them a little bit for all the good work that they do.
Yeah, they seem to be doing pretty well. I wonder if we I guess we should talk to I feel bad because I always forget this one until like Gitcoin grants already launches, but I wonder if we have something up for Hedge for Humanity, for the Humanity Fund, if we have something up again. I didn't even check, but I should check into that, because I'm not I don't think I'm one of the admins for that one, so I don't control whether it goes up or not, but hopefully that one's up, because I always donate. That's one of the ones where it's like not very visible, but definitely worth voting or donating to.
Joran, tell us about the latest rabbit hole campaign.
Yeah, so we've got a new campaign that just launched at the beginning of this week. So it's actually the first time we have two campaigns going at the same time. So we have the Crypto Native Starter Pack Journey, we're calling it. I explained a little bit about that last week, but essentially normally our campaigns are specific to one protocol on one network, but the crypto starter pack is across different protocols on different networks. But the one that we launched this week is specifically for Balancer on Polygon. And you need to swap some tokens and then provide some liquidity for a few tokens. And then you will receive a reward of 0.4 BAO, as well as a sweet NFT. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Is it still a full requirement of being verified on BrightID, or are you gonna get extra if you are verified?
No, yeah, so it's required to be BrightID verified in order to participate in this one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are we having any new integrations in progress, Adam, or the list that we have right now
Yeah,
is
we're
the
getting close to that's why I mentioned the Hedge for Humanity Fund. We're getting close to launching that one, and what that is a UBI raffle. It's a really interesting idea. If you ever followed Andrew Yang, it's something that he experimented with on his Twitter. But the nice thing about this one is, well, first is it's going to use crypto, so it's got a hopefully we'll see how smooth it is, but a smoother way of getting money to the winners. But and then it uses BrightID to limit the number of tickets you can get into the raffle. But it will be interesting to see what the winners do when they get their crypto. And one of the things we want to do with the Humanity Fund is just learn a lot about what does someone new to crypto do when they get crypto in Uganda? What does someone in Honduras, or wherever the winner may be from, how will they deal with that? Considering that it will probably be someone who's new to crypto, and how can we help them take their crypto and move it into something that they can use to pay their rent and their other bills. So it's going to be an interesting experiment. I really like the idea of using a raffle as a way to like get it going, because there have been some UBI attempts, which I applaud, like the Proof of Humanity UBI. I applaud what they're doing. But there's a difference between receiving like a few dollars worth a month and receiving $100 a month. So one of them feels more like a real UBI, depending on where you live. So yeah, that's what's happening there. So it's pretty exciting, and I would encourage you to look up the H4H fund, Hedge for Humanity. Look up Hedge for Humanity on Gitcoin grants. You can go to the Hedge for Humanity website, hedgeforhumanity.org, and read a little bit about the mission of Hedge for Humanity. And by the way, there's an interesting relationship between BrightID and Hedge for Humanity, which is that if BrightID, through the sale of sponsorships, which is like what everyone has to get, the apps usually buy it for you when you first come on to BrightID, but everyone gets sponsored, and that's what funds BrightID as a public good. But if there's ever excess revenue, if BrightID ever says, wow, there's so much coming in from the sale of these sponsorships that we have more than we need to support this public good as a nonprofit, then it gives the money back to Hedge for Humanity and says, okay, distribute this. Like, this is excess, distribute it back to all of humanity. Put it into the global UBI fund. So that's I think that's a pretty cool relationship that allows us to make sure that we're always a nonprofit, that we always prioritize the number of people coming into BrightID over trying to make the most money that we can. So that's a cool relationship that we have. So yeah, keep your eye out for that one. Maybe I would guess like maybe a month if I had to guess on that one. It's getting pretty close.
where is the Where are the funds coming to Hedge for Humanity? The early ones, because there's going to be a raffle, there's going to be a winner, and
We've
uh,
had some people
yeah.
give commitments of various strength, that they want to donate to the UBI raffle once it launches. So we will reconnect with those individuals. I think at the beginning I think it's always going to be individuals, and later on hopefully also organizations. So this is my dream, and I actually wrote about it. If you go to my Medium blog, my dream is that, and I think Philip kind of shares the same dream, that in the future, every organization is going to like feel some sort of I guess indebtedness or to humanity, or like they want to help humanity, and so they give some portion of whatever it is that they get, they give it to the global UBI fund, and that just goes out to everybody. So I imagine that it's going to be just like literally everyone donating to the UBI, and then getting paid out to everybody. So yeah, but we start with just individuals who feel really passionate about it. Add in some companies that or other organizations that feel really passionate about it. I would love to see the Ethereum blockchain donate some block rewards to the global UBI. That would be pretty amazing and totally appropriate. Anything that's like anything that generates revenue, anything that's a public good, all of these things can set aside a portion of their revenue to go into the global UBI fund. So that's my dream for this future that we really want, where it's like, okay, you're now free to, you don't have to worry about how am I going to survive next week. You get what you need to have the basics, and you're free to explore what you're passionate about, and people get to work on the things that matter the most, instead of being in survival mode. So anyways, that's kind of like the big vision for Hedge for Humanity, and where the money's going to come from.
I see. Yeah, it's been so long, but I think people have heard about it. I remember in the early days, people were coming to BrightID asking about, I don't remember the name, Swift Demand, and
Mm-hmm.
what was the other one? Yeah, and because they were like UBI programs, and you and Philip were both like active in that space. I think you still are. So people were coming to BrightID and saying, okay, you created BrightID for this. Where is it? Just we want to register for that. And I'm happy that Hedge for Humanity is now, yeah, pretty close to
Yeah, one of the
launch.
goals that I said, so that's a UBI raffle. So it's still not, it's cool, but it's still not our end goal. Our end goal is we want to have a meaningful UBI to everybody. And to achieve that, BrightID needs to become better. Right now, I don't believe there's any system on Earth, including ones run by government, that can do an adequate job of distributing a UBI to everybody. So we need to become that. Like BrightID needs to step up to the plate and become the first system that can actually support a meaningful UBI to people, which means we need to be really accurate with our civil detection, more accurate than even what a government can do. So that's our big goal. That's our big dream.
Cool. Hedge for Humanity. So it's gonna be like the German raffle.
Yeah, it's
But
going to be
when
a
I
lot like
did
that.
research about it, it was like a private raffle. It wasn't a government thing.
No, it's not. The cool thing about that is anyone could donate. It's funded by like a whole bunch of people in Germany just got interested in it. Just regular people said, "Oh, this is really cool. We should have this." And so a bunch of people donated, and they donated enough to fund a bunch of UBIs. I think they were giving away like, tens of UBIs to people every single month. And they still might be, I haven't checked in with them recently, but they might be keeping up with that pace. And that was just within the country of Germany. So that's really amazing. It had a huge impact. I think one of their other goals was to educate people about UBI. They had a book that they were offering, and they just wanted people to see like, okay, what is UBI, and can we actually do it? Well, let's try. Let's start giving out some UBI. Yeah, and eventually, eventually we want to go beyond just a raffle, and have a real UBI. But yeah, there's a few things that need to be in place before that can happen. And basically those are the things that need to be in place before that can happen are exactly what BrightID and Hedge for Humanity are working on, getting those things into place.
I see. I see lots of BrightID stars here. Victor, Ehsan, Sergey, and Carlos, everyone is here. And I want to ask about the latest BrightID the connection parties and how crowded they are, especially considering the Rabbit Hole new campaign and the Gitcoin round 11 starting yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, that they started. Yeah, how many guests are you seeing in each party?
I can start first. Well, the thing is that it's like waves of people. Every time that we got some kind of campaign or some kind of revenue of reward to be verified in BrightID, we got more people than usual. That's the theme of the meetings. But this last one, we don't have like a lot like the one before that we get like 100 people every meeting. But you can notice that. You can notice that when the people think it's worth to be verified, they came in batches.
Well, be interesting to see now that Gitcoin launched today. If you start to see another influx, every Gitcoin round has seen a big uptick.
Yeah, actually, like the last couple of days have been mostly because of a rabbit hole campaign. It's cheap to do it in Polygon, so people are just want to try to get it in. But yeah, we've seen some new people joining Bitcoin as well. Yesterday, I don't know this morning's meeting, and probably today we're going to see more influx. That's something to discuss next week. But yeah, like the last 2 days, we have seen more people than the last week because of both of the. Yeah, I'm going to stop.
Yeah, we are
going
seeing more
circles.
people, like 10 to 15 people per meeting. But in the meetings that I hold, and Ashraf, like the meetings that we hold, they are mostly are coming to BrightID because of Gitcoin. Because of the scammers, we try to hang out more with the people in the calls, and we ask them why you are here, why are you joining BrightID, what are you going to use BrightID for, and they say Gitcoin mostly. But in last meeting, and like two last meetings, there were people who said that was really funny. They said we are here because of X Infinity. I don't know if do we have that.
We don't,
Yeah.
but I know GL Guild actually uses BrightID for one of their games. They're verifying people as with BrightID using that as a requirement. But they like, yeah, well, everyone can just use us, and don't let us know. So
Yeah,
yeah,
are they using it? I'm just curious though, are they using the Discord bot to do it?
I don't think so. I think they need to just show them in the screenshot that they're verified by ID.
Okay.
They
That
should really
doesn't
use
make
the real thing.
How it works. That's okay. That's kind of funny. I mean, they should talk to us and get like a real integration, because if they've got a Discord server, it's really not that hard to invite the BrightID unique Discord bot over.
I
Probably we just
mean,
need to
yeah,
move again with that conversation.
the bot could use some more love though, for sure.
Yeah, the bot could, but it wasn't. I thought I read something where what's his face?
Victor,
Yeah,
Logic.
Victor
Victor Warrior.
was saying he was saying, "Hey, I'm going to, I I think I want to like update the
Yep.
Discord unique bot." So
Yeah, he asked me if I'd help out with more sponsorships, and I said sure.
I think he was asking if we should add sponsorships, sponsorship capabilities, because that's one of the missing capabilities of
Yeah,
that.
what he wrote in the channel the other day was, "Hey, I'm thinking of like spinning this up and adding sponsorship. Hey, Philip, are you still you still willing to?"
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. If there's like a global bucket of sponsorships, then yeah, there's several of us that I think would put some sponsorships in there. But the tricky part about it is you, in some way, you don't want. I mean, it becomes like a tragedy of the commons where you put a whole bunch of sponsorships that's then used for all of the servers, and yeah, you don't know who's going to be taking more than their share. So I don't know how that's going to work. That's kind
Also,
of
in the longer run, I don't think random applications should sponsor a user unless like they already, for whatever reason, think that user is legit.
yeah. I tend to agree with that. I think I think the sponsorship opens the door for like the app doing a little bit of checking themselves on the user and saying, okay, yeah, this seems like this is going to be a good user. They're starting to engage or whatever it may be before they actually get sponsored.
Yeah, I sometimes think of like, imagine that sponsorship could be like endorsement, right? Where you're saying it's like, we the entity bless this person, uh, just like when you make a connection to someone,
Yep.
it's you the person blessing them. So
Yep. That makes a lot of sense.
Passler, I have no idea what you just wrote.
Oh, someone was saying that there's
in the
in the
yeah.
Chinese meetings, there's still 70 to 100 joining
Got
every
it.
meeting.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I noticed that nowadays most of our Gitcoin grants donors are from China. That's just, I guess it's becoming really popular in China, which is great.
Mm. So you
Yeah,
mean
even
BrightID grant on Gitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
like even 60% of the participants of the English parties are from China.
Wow.
Those who can speak English.
Yeah, and I noticed that I guess I would say like investor interest is the most investor interest is in China. We don't exactly have like a lot. We did have a subs sale, but we don't really have any investment per se. I wonder if when we launch some of these new community initiatives that you'll hear about very soon, if you don't already know, I wonder if our Chinese friends are going to participate in those. Like, I wonder if they're gonna vote on proposals and do stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see. I hope they do. But yeah, I don't, I like, I sometimes I still don't always understand our user base. Like I understand, okay, so I understand the apps and wanting to use those different apps, but I don't understand if there's other reasons, like if they're, how involved they might, that our users might become with BrightID, or how many of them might become extra involved in BrightID, and how many are there just to use certain specific apps. So I would guess if we see a lot of users coming in to use Gitcoin, it's probably because they have some specific projects that they care about, and they're donating to them on Gitcoin. But I think that, I mean, it's really interesting to see just how many people we have donating to BrightID on Gitcoin. So, I mean, we have a pretty big community. So you could say, like, if I look at our 20,000-ish verified BrightID users, I would my guess would be that a third of them are like interested in BrightID for BrightID. They're also interested in other things, of course, but they actually have like a specific interest in BrightID, which is pretty cool. Like, so I think we have a pretty decent sized community, actually, which is exciting, and I hope that we get to make good use of that community and grow it even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how that initiative is going to work out and how we can involve the community more. And yeah, like what I dream is what happened to OneHive community happening in BrightID community, because it was really amazing seeing OneHive community creating these proposals, acting upon it, and having discussions. And it was all like managed by the community itself. And people took charge, people took responsibilities and started taking initiatives. Yeah,
And now there's so many different kind of branches or arms of OneHive doing so many different things in parallel. And I mean, that's what we want for BrightID. We just want to have like a bunch of different organizations just self-organizing and working on BrightID, and we want to give them the power to be able to do that. Because BrightID is one of those projects, kind of like OneHive. There's so many things that you could do. There's so many kinds of projects that are touching OneHive, that are related to OneHive, that have launched or could launch. And I see BrightID as the same way. BrightID is just going to be a huge collection of a bunch of different technologies that work together to provide the complete solution. Technologies, and also just like different types of communities with different skills, like little smaller working groups working on all the different aspects that make BrightID work. So that's I think that's what we need.
Could you give us some examples of what you have in mind?
Oh no, I was just thinking, yeah, sure. So I was thinking civil research. I mean, I would love, like, I think Philip and I have had this dream for a while now that hasn't been a reality yet, that we would love to see different teams, like, you know, anti-civil team, whatever they want to call themselves, right? That does anti-civil research using the BrightID platform. They form their own team. They can get their own funding, and they can like work on making a super awesome anti-civil algorithm using the BrightID platform. And then 5 other teams are doing the same thing, and they're all trying to do the best they can. They're all getting funding, and this is the type of decentralization that we want to see. And then there's other things like educational campaigns and you know, spreading BrightID and helping users and all kinds of things like that. Chinese version BrightID app. Do we not have it translated into Chinese yet? I'm almost positive we have it.
Yeah, we have the Chinese version.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm confused why people can't get it in Chinese. It should be available in Chinese on the App Store.
I
Now, can I say?
sure.
Oh, thank you. Because we have finished the translating, but they're not launched yet. Maybe the Chinese version of BrightID applications. That's why they were asking for it. And every time they come to join, and they said it will be more easier for them because they have some community and like some fluent in English community. They research everything and they make some web pages and website and put the all information up via drop and like any project ongoing on any live
Yeah.
project, any facet. So they put the all information in Chinese there. So they have to rely, the most of the people have to rely on them. So that is
Yeah,
why they
so
are asking.
I agree that our documentation right now is only in English, so we can work on improving that. But as far as the app itself, Michael, you keep track of that, right? Which languages have been worked on? We released the Chinese version, right, of the app, just the BrightID
I
app.
know we talked about, oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, I know we talked about Chinese and I know there are translations, but actually I'm not sure at the moment if it's really activated in the BrightID app. I'm just
Yeah,
checking.
I agree that we need to make Chinese a priority. We need to I mean, I would say that I mean, I bet if we looked at the statistics, we would see that there's just as many Chinese speaking users as there are English speaking users. So we need to make that a priority and make sure that we get all of our documentation translated. Do you think we can use the same tool that we've been using for translating the app strings for translating documentation? Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
So we could translate our Git book and other materials into Chinese. That would be really great. So this is a great example of what our community can do. If we provide the right resources to let the community power themselves, then they can create like OneHive has the Terra swarm, which that's exactly what they do is they translate everything into other languages. So BrightID can have its own swarm that can pay itself to do translation. So it's going to be really great.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at the translation tool and we have Chinese in like 99%, so it's almost complete. So I really think we can include it in the next client build.
Great, that sounds really good. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Shaheen.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I did the translation for it, and the last two line was a little bit critical for me because I wanted to understand them in their own perspective. So I leave it. So yeah, but we can make sure that it will be 100%.
Yeah.
Great,
awesome.
thank you. I think we started on this side conversation, but I think Philip was about to say something and then he got interrupted. Do you still remember what you were going to say, Philip? Okay, sorry about that. But I think we're all excited about what the community is going to do. So I think you're exactly right, Paslar. If you want to look to see what we might do, look at OneHive. But pretty soon it's going to be a reality. I mean, OneHive did take a while to ramp up and to have as many different initiatives as it has today. So there'll probably be a similar ramp up time, but I really hope that with BrightID, we're going to have the same sorts of like if you can dream it up, you can do it. Like the door is open for you to create your own initiative and get funding for it related to BrightID.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. And yeah, we'll do our best to spread the words in the community with the BrightID stars.
And when things do open up, it's going to be really messy for a while. Any of the DAOs that have really opened up their membership, to thousands of people, it's been really complicated for a while. So expect growing pains when you go from 24 people really, being involved to 2,000 people. It's not a smooth process, but I
Yeah,
think
that's
ultimately
true.
you can get a way better outcome once you get your arms around it. Bankless has been interesting to watch. They opened up their DAO massively, and it took people a while to figure things out, but now they really are, and they've got people in all these different sort of channels focused on the things that they want to focus on, getting stuff done, not needing the whole group to buy into it. It's just like, all right, this little autonomous arm is going to do this. If you want to be involved in creating the next merchandise drop, great, come on and join us, because we're just going to do this for the DAO in general. And some other group is like, all right, we're going to figure out the legal side, because clearly the t-shirt designers are not thinking about like what the SEC is going to think about Bankless DAO. So us lawyers and people that care about, like, let's focus on that. And other people that want to focus on, how do we get the word out on Twitter, because that's our jam. Great, they do that. And other people are like, how do we get the bed index launched with Index Cooperative? And they did that. And it's all these different little autonomous groups working under the collective, which is really cool.
Cool. I guess we are up to the hour. Sorry for the church, doesn't stop. And unless anyone wants to talk about anything before we stop recording, let me know. I just want to stop the recording so we can do the group connection. Is there anything anyone want to talk about? Good? We are good. Cool. Thank you for being here and joining us. I'm going to stop the recording now, and we'll see you next week. We will announce it if it's going to be on Discord or as usual in here. Probably it's going to be on Discord. So with that said, thank you for being here. I'm going to stop the recording.